Be'ezrat Hashem, Naaseh v'Natzliach. Amen. I want to welcome you to another session of our ROSH CHODESH class here at the Ben Shabbat Residences. This is a very special class. Believe it or not, this completes a full year cycle. We've been here for 12 months. We started last Adar, and Adar is coming up next month, but we started last Adar, and we are right now in the month of Tevet. We've done this successfully, Baruch Hashem B'lai Nara, for a full year, and this is all thanks to our gracious host, Yehudit Ben Shabbat, who opened up our house, her heart, and her pocket, the cooking, the hosting. It's all Eshet Chayil Mi'imtza. Hashem varech otach v'sameach otach for all your efforts, for your not only your efforts to make this happen, but the desire, the ratzon, lagdil Torah v'ladira, to put Torah out there, to get more people connected, and above and beyond. Just today, I was sharing with Yudit. Now look at us. We're about 50 or 60 people here on a regular class that we do, but you have no idea how much this reaches. We looked at the YouTube and the SoundCloud and the Facebook and all that. Believe it or not, last month's class reached 1,000 people. Wow. So 1,000 people besides us learned as well. Keep in mind, as rabbis have it, they reach tens of thousands, 100, but for us, it's a big feat. So thank you so much for giving us the space, the venue, the ambiance, the shefa, mamash, every saudas, ki the melech, Hashem varech otach, v'sameach otach, you, and Be'ezrat Hashem, you have a lot of nachat ruach from your children, Naam Elimelech, and Meir Asher, also zivug agun to Shammai, zivug agun to Yehudit, and Be'ezrat Hashem, Me'Hashem Melech, kol mishot libech letova. Amen. Also, we'll dedicate tonight's class to Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes. As you know, usually all the time when there's anything that has to do with lights and with shemen, there's a big segula to remember this big tzaddik. His yahrzeit is coming up as well. Also, we want to give an honorable mention to Rav Israel Abergel, the son of Rav Yoram Michael Abergel, Zecher Tzaddik Vivracha, who also has infused a lot of spiritual energy into our lives and is definitely helping us work together. Also, want to give an honorable mention that everybody's welcome to come back on Sunday at 4 o'clock. Yehudit is continuing B'derech HaKodesh and inviting Rabbi Yosef Mizrahi here to be for a special class in our home at 4 o'clock. You're more than welcome to come over here. And also this class is dedicated to the Refuah Shelema of Rabbi Moshe Shni Uzama Ben Rachel and to the general success of Eitan Aryeh Ben Abraham and family, who is now in Israel, about to be enlisted to go into the war. May Hashem protect him and Kol Am Yisrael that are currently at the war, and may we merit to see all the hostages come back in one piece. Amen. Also, we have to give an honorable mention and dedicate this class to the person who's no longer with us, but he's here in spirit in every single class. Is to Zeilu Nishmat, Yehudit's late husband, Avraham Yoshua ben Sultana. Be'ezrat Hashem, shetiyeh nishmato tzorah b'tzorot ha'chaim. And Be'ezrat Hashem, this class will be to Zeilu Nishmat, as well as to Simon ben Alia and Mazal bat Luna. Amen. And also to all the people that are in attendance and all the people that are viewing online. Hashem varech otchem, sameach otchem. Be'ezrat Hashem, that you see revealed miracles in your life during this time of the month of Kislev, which is the month of miracles, as well as the month, the Chag Chanukah, that is a month of is a holiday of Nisim and Niflaot. Be'ezrat Hashem, that we see revealed miracles in our life. Amen. Amen.
Yevorach HaMevarech Sharon.
Amen. So, as this is a Rosh Chodesh class, I'd like to take every once in a while and redo an introduction, in order so you can understand what we're doing here. What are the mechanics of Rosh Chodesh? How does Rosh Chodesh work? If you want to know what type of spiritual energy you want to get connected to, you have to know what's happening at that moment. So you should know that throughout the year, we have a lot of spiritual prime times. And these spiritual prime times, if you do the proper avodah on the proper days, you're able to draw a lot of shefa, a lot of spiritual abundance into your life. There's some people that tonight and tomorrow is just going to be Tuesday and Wednesday. For some people, this is going to be the day that sets the tone for the entire month, and they're able to draw a tremendous amount of spiritual success for their lives during this Chag, as well as this month. And you might even be able to click the jackpot for the shefa that you need for the entire year. You never know which avodah is going to be the one that was necessary. Because keep in mind, avodat Hashem, we're always in a process of rectification. We're always in a tikkun for something that we did in this world, something that we did in the previous life, a tikkun that we're doing, something that is maybe there's a deen, we want to remove the deen, sometimes we want to activate a miracle. All these things that are happening, if you're not doing the work, you're not going to get the result. They call this in football, you got to have skin in the game, right? You got to apply yourself. If you're not going to play, or in Lotto, where they say all you need is $1 and a dream, right?
That's right.
If you don't play, you have no chance to win the jackpot. So you have to play. You have to apply yourself. You have to get involved spiritually in order to draw spiritual abundance. You will not sit on your couch, watch TV, and things will happen to you. It doesn't work like that. But if you come to a Rosh Chodesh class and you understand what's available and you acquire tools and you try to apply them, then you have hope. You have hope that things can turn into something positive in the near future. In order to make you understand this even on a deeper level, I want to share with you Rabbi Eliyahu Dessler from Michtav Eliyahu. In his second volume, on the 20th page, right before explaining the energy of Pesach, he talks over there about the spiritual energy of any time, whether it's Shabbat, Rosh Chodesh, Chagim, anytime there's a spiritual abundance and Shefa, how you draw it into your life. He says it over there. And by the way, for those of you that were here for the Hanukkah class, Yehudit Ben Shabbat gave us Or Hanukkah, this compilation, this little kumtes over here by Avraham Saton, Rabbi Avraham Saton. Incredible. I was sitting next to the Chanukiah a couple of days ago. I was flipping through it and I came through a beautiful nugget that I want to share with you. It says over there, and then I went into the book to look at it, to check to read it in Hebrew, because it's always so much nicer when you read it in Hebrew in the words of the Rav, but I'll share it with you. Rabbi Eliyahu Dessel says, when it comes to time, don't think that time passes over us, right? Don't think that all of a sudden, this Rosh Chodesh is just a day that goes over us. Says, it's not a day that passes over us and to never return again. Rather, time is like a spiral, and we travel through it. So I've said this a million times, and I'll say it one more time in order to explain how this works. Some people think that time works like, we have year 1, year 100, year 1000, year 2000, year 5000, year 5784. It's as if, like time is like a straight line. But in reality, and each time that just a day goes over us, like people look at the calendar and they just rip off the date. That you have a calendar where you rip off the paper and that day's gone. You rip off the paper and the day's gone. Or people have to put an X on the day. That's it. That day's dead. That's not the Jewish way. The Jewish way is you imagine the year as a spiral. 365 days looping like a spiral, like a cyclical year. And what happens is as these days come around every 365 days, on specific days there's special spiritual energy that's embedded into those days, such as Shabbat, such as Rosh Chodesh, such as Chagim. When those days come around, there's something unique, special, spiritually charged days. And if you know what to do on those days, you can draw from the energy that's available there. You go to the next day, it's not there. The day before, it's there. The day after, it's not there. Sometimes you have a pocket of time, like holidays that are 2 days long or 8 days long. Like for example, right now, we're in the spiritual pocket of 8 days of Hanukkah. There's something going on over here for 8 days. You do the right work, you can draw things into your life. You do no work, you get nothing. So right now, we are in a spiritually charged day. Double. It's a double header. Not only do we have Rosh Chodesh, which usually is the energy that we get plugged into, what we're going to learn about today, But on top of it, we have what? Hanukkah. And there's some years where you have what? You have Rosh Chodesh, Hanukkah, Shabbat. And then you have what? Rosh Chodesh, Hanukkah, Shabbat, and
The seventh day of Hanukkah.
what?
The seventh day of Hanukkah.
I've never seen that yet. With the seventh day of Hanukkah. I have to look into that. But you see that you can get some days that are double spiritually charged, sometimes triple charged. So what do? You have to get plugged into those days. You have to pay attention to those days. Continues to say, he says, the same illumination that's shown a long time ago, when we come to that exact same point of that year, we can receive the same illumination. Meaning whatever happened many, many years ago on that day, when it loops back around, that energy is available to us just the same way. To simplify that, we can use this holiday. We say, Bayamim ahem, bazman hazeh. We talk about the story of Hanukkah. Oh, what a great miracle or miracles happened by Yamim Ahem. Comes Rabbi Dessler, come Anshe Knesset HaGdolah, come Chazal, come the people, the rabbis of the Gemara and tell you, no. By Yamim Ahem, Bazman Hazeh, the same miracles that happened to the Chashmonaim is the same energy that's available for you today. Now you want the same results? What is left? It's for you to bring that, for you to manifest those results into your life. How do you do that? It's your actions. Your actions will yield the results that you're looking for or the lack of. Now, I want to add more. Another layer of understanding to the mechanics of Rosh Chodesh. How do things work in Rosh Chodesh? Rosh Chodesh is the fulfillment center for the Shefa that we received in Rosh Hashanah. In other words, on Rosh Hashanah, the entire Shefa of the entire year comes in one bunch, like one bundle. As it says in the Gemara, Mi Tishrei, At Tishrei, Chutz Mi Tishrei. We said what? That everything that a person is supposed to get throughout the year, from the month of Tishrei till the next upcoming Tishrei, is all included. All happens on that day of Rosh Hashanah, except for what? Everything is accounted for, except for what? Except for Tishrei, which stands for Torah, Shabbat, Rosh Chodesh, and Yom Tov. Which means, if a person is supposed to get $1 million this year, Be'ezrat Hashem, oh, everybody's a millionaire. It's too small for you.
Amen. I take this one.
Look at this one.
With inflation.
I said $1 million. Crickets. I didn't know over here with the. We're accepting donations if anybody has. We're looking for bigger space. Okay. So, Mi Tishrei At Tishrei, the person is supposed to get $1 million. Okay, Mi Tishrei At Tishrei. Chutz Mi Tishrei, except for Tishrei, meaning what? Whatever you're going to spend on your Torah learning, on your Shabbat, on your Rosh Chodesh, on your Yom Tov, on your beautiful suit for the Chag, on your lavish meal for Shabbat, all that is not included in that $1 million. That means the entire year, if you're going to spend another $286,574 in order to honor Tishrei, which is Torah, Shabbat, Rosh Chodesh, and Yom Tov, Hashem says you get 1 million plus the 2 and change. It doesn't come out of what was allotted to you. So on Rosh Hashanah, all that comes into the world. However, you don't get it one shot. Nobody walks out of shul with a big paycheck for 1 million. It says, okay, this is your money for the year. What does Hashem say? Hashem says, I put it all for you in a fulfillment center, in a warehouse, right? But you got to come every single month and draw what the allotment for that month. When do you come to draw from the Shefa of Rosh Hashanah? On Rosh Chodesh. And according to the work that you do on Rosh Chodesh is the amount that you're supposed to get. So meaning, even if you're supposed to get, let's say, $100,000, right? But let's just say you sinned, you did something wrong, now it's a little bit more. Or maybe you did something more and you're supposed to get more. Or whatever, the ups and downs, it's going on. Fluctuating like a stock market, right? Or let's just say you didn't even do any work in Rosh Chodesh. Or let's say you did do any work on Rosh Chodesh. Meaning Rosh Chodesh is a very big day where all your shefa for the month is there. Plug in, do the work. Are you It's like, show me somebody who wouldn't show up to payday. It's payday. Show up to payday. So that's Rosh Chodesh, that's Rosh Hashanah. However, I saw another level, another layer of understanding what's happening on Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh is also a spiritual recharge station. Meaning, you might be this Jew that's walking around and you're spiritually dead. You're spiritually numb. You're spiritually disconnected. And all of a sudden you roll up to Rosh Chodesh and what are you going to do? You're just like this guy that has no connection. Or maybe your Yiddishkeit is weak. Or maybe you're a little bit depressed. Or maybe the Yetzer Hara has got you. Right? How can Rosh Chodesh help that Jew? So Rosh Chodesh is like a pit stop that you check into. And you get spiritually recharged for the month. Meaning what? Every single month has a certain spiritual energy that you can tap into. Well, obviously, every single month we've been going through it. Sefer Yetzirah tells us which emotion to work on, which body part, which planet, which tribe, what they represent, what's available, what to go after, what to stay away from. We've had all these instructions. Bnei Saschar has been with us the entire way also, letting us know on what are the things to tap into and what to not to tap into. When do the Jewish people have favorable months? When are the negative months that Esav has control over? And you play defense, low profile, offense, defense. We got all that. But we have the instruction manual to that. You have to know what to do. You have to know that when you're checking on Rosh Chodesh, when you're recharging, what part of my spirituality am I recharging? But I saw something beautiful. Beautiful example that I also saw brought by Avraham Saton. He says, imagine that you're a car with a dead battery. You come to a Rosh Chodesh class, and what happens? You say, Sharone, do you have jumper cables? I say, of course. I give you I plug you in, you put into your dead battery, and I charge you. Right? Just like when you start a dead car, what happens? The car starts. Oh yeah, Rosh Chodesh. Right? I'm plugged in. Right? I'm turning you on. Right? But what happens at the end of the class? I got to take the cables out. And then you have to drive on your own. Right? So what we're doing right here is if you're spiritually dead, spiritually numb, we'll give you the charge, we'll give you the boost, we'll turn you back on. Right? But once you take off the cables, it's on you to go drive on your own and keep it going. So that's what happens every Rosh Chodesh. You come here, you learn how to spiritually recharge yourself for the month with the spiritual energy that's available for that month. But once you get that boost, the jumper cable, make sure that you do your work to keep it going. And this lesson is so important, especially to the month of Tevet. Meaning I gave you this long introduction to what Rosh Chodesh is because it's really, really, really nogea. It's really, really a necessary lesson in order to activate the spiritual powers of Tevet. Okay, let's get started. The month of Tevet is known as the month of sorrow. What a way to start the night, right? What are we going to do? That's what it is. All right? Let's read a little bit more. Look what it says. Chodesh Tevet hu chodesh shel tza'ar. It's a month of sorrow. Megillat Ta'anit brings it. Shebechodesh ze yeshnam shalosh ta'aniyot al shalosh qur'aniyot shiru b'shmini b'tshii u'b'asiri chodesh Tevet. It says that there are three fasts to three different calamities that happen on the 8th and 9th and 10th of this month. As it says in the Selichot of Asar B'Tevet, when Asar B'Tevet, which is a fast day when it comes around, we're going to go to the supplication of the Ta'anit, which is in the back of the Sidur, and we say, Eskera mitzuk asher kera'ani Beshlosha makot b'chodesh hazeh hikani. 3 times we got hit on this month. We're going to go to it in a little bit. It says, what are these 3 makot? What are these 3 terrible things that happen in this month? The first one, מעשה ב5 זקנים שכתבו לתלמי המלך את התורה היוונית, והיה היום קשה לישראל כיום שנשא העגל, שלא הייתה התורה יכולה להתרגם כל צורכה. You know what's one of the biggest tragedies that happened on this month? Is that there was a king called Talmai, and he warranted some of the sages to translate the Torah to Greek, and the day that the Torah was translated to Greek was so tough for Am Yisrael, like the day of the sin of the golden calf. Remember how we think. Imagine how big is the sin of the golden calf, right? It's right here. Imagine that the writing of the Torah in Greek was the same type of sorrow. And that's what happened because it wasn't translated properly. That's the first calamity that happened on this month. Second one. פטירת עזרא סופר ונחמיה בן חכליה, מנהיגי אומה שהעלו את עם ישראל מהגולה בתום גלות בבל, וזה גם היה סיום תקופת הנביאים. So what happened also, the second calamity, Ezra HaSofer. If you know, maybe one day we'll do a real proper class about Ezra HaSofer. But he and Nehemiah ben Chachlaya, which were the leaders of the time that brought the people back from the exile in Babylon, they passed away. And at this particular time of their passing away, also sealed off this time period in time where there's no more prophets to the Jewish nation. Once Ezra Sofer died and Nehemiah ben Chachlaya, no more Tkufat HaNevi'im. No longer is there a period of prophets in Am Yisrael. There it ended. So it's another calamity. The third one is that Melech Bavel, the king of Babylon, put a matzor al Yerushalayim b'meshech 3.5 שנים, עד שהעיר הובקעה בתשעה לחודש תמוז. It says that what happened on this month is that the Babylonian king put a siege around Jerusalem. The siege lasted for 3.5 years. On Shiva Asar B'Tammuz, the walls were breached. And what happened 3 weeks later? Tisha B'Av. All these calamities happened in this month. So this month, if I have to tell you, can you tell me the history of Tevet? It's a bad history. Negative things happened. Even the Zohar says, Tevet deha kedin yemei hara'a havu. He says Tevet is the month where bad things happen to the Jewish people. Now,
away from Tisha B'Av. We're far away from Tisha B'Av right now.
continues to say in Pri Tzadik about the month of Tevet. On the month of Tevet, it says, Hayarud sheben HaChodashim. The lowest of all the months is Tevet. והוא מבין 3 החודשים שבהם מידת הדין מתוחה. And it says it's one of 3 months that there's a strict judgment in the world for the Jewish people. As it says in the Zohar, Tlat Yarachin de Dina Kashya Sharia Be'alma. There are 3 very tough, harsh judgment months in the year are in the world. Umayninhu. What are those 3 months? Tammuz, Av, Tevet. You're right, Elul was one of them. Tammuz, Av, and Elul were the 3 months that were part of these 3 months. But when Yaakov Avinu fought with the Malach of Esav, what did they fight for? They fought for the month of Elul. And Yaakov won the month of Elul for us. And he had to swap it out with the month of Tevet. It's a midrash. Since you mentioned it, I give it to you as a bonus. But it says over here, mining who? Tammuz, Av, Tevet. The month of Tammuz, harsh judgment, harsh dinim. Av as well. Tevet, the month that we're in as well. So imagine what we feel about Tammuz, what we know about Av, Tevet, same energy. Could you imagine? Continues to say that even it's noticeable that you can see this hinted in the zodiac sign. What is the zodiac sign of Tevet? What is it called? It's called Capricorn. What does the Capricorn look like? No, it doesn't look like a horse. It looks like like a ram, like a sheep, right? Like a ram, like a seir, right? What's a seir? That belongs to Esav. To show us that the ram, which is like the seir, which is like Esav, is the month that belongs to Esav. חלקו של עשיו שנקרא איש שעיר. So, even though that we said that these are dark days, bad days, negative days, days of concealment, כי ימי טבת הם ימי הסתר, where things are all concealed. But I stop and I say, but wait, in these dark months, there's some real positive things going on. We see that the beginning of the month is very much spiritually charged with the energy of Rosh Chodesh, and we know that Rosh Chodesh is a very powerful day. And there's no bad Rosh Chodesh. All Rosh Chodeshes have something positive that we can draw from. Not only that, we just said in the beginning of the class, we have a double layer. We also have the spiritual energy of Chanukah. And that's the energy of what? Of Nisim v'Niflaot, of miracles. And not only that, we just left the month of Kislev, which was also a dark month. The whole Mar Cheshvan and then Kislev, there was nothing going on. But at the end of Kislev was Chanukah. And because of the end of the month of Kislev being Chanukah, it's called the month of miracles, the month of dreams, Chodesh HaNisim, Chodesh HaChalomot. And we said, wow, what an incredible month of Kislev. So we see that we have layers and layers of something positive. We have Rosh Chodesh and Chanukah, and even Chanukah bleeds over into a little bit of Tevet. Then why do I have to worry about Tevet? Just like the end of Kislev got to benefit from the beginning of Chanukah, and it became the month of miracles, can't I draw that also, copy-paste, into the month of Tevet? So it says, so we ask the question, why should such a dark month have such an incredible start? Right? Think about the beginning of the month. We have Rosh Chodesh, we have Chanukah, and then in Chanukah we have Zot Chanukah, the 8th day, and those who know what Zot Chanukah is, you know what I'm talking about. And then we even have the reality that in this month we have Shabbat and Chanukah, Rosh Chodesh and Chanukah, and these are all incredible spiritual prime times that no other months usually get to benefit. Unique to the month of Tevet. Plus, if this is a negative spiritual month, do I crawl under a rock until Tu B'Shvat and Adar? Like, what am I supposed to do? The fact that there's a reality that there's bad months of the year, what are you supposed to do? Just hide until Purim comes? Hide until Pesach comes? What do you do? How do you manage your spirituality on the dark months? Or in other words, how do I win Tevet? We just started. We're minutes into the month. Can you tell me how I can win this month? I want to win the month of Tevet. So just like anything, just like in business, just like in personal, just like in spirituality, it all starts from the top. It all starts with the Rosh. Just like we said, on Yom Adin, what is it called? Rosh Hashanah. So you could say, simply put, because it's the first day of the month, it's Rosh Hashanah. But Chazal have told us, it's Rosh Hashanah. It's the head. And if the head is right, everything follows. Rosh Hashanah, that's what we stay so connected. 48 hours on Rosh Hashanah, what do? We stay happy, we pray, we try not to get angry, we try to do seudot. We're like in this 48-hour challenge where we try to be spiritually perfect. Why? Because it dictates how the entire 365 days are going to follow. We say that the Rosh Hashanah, we act like in a certain way because it's the Rosh of the Shana. And that's what they say, people shouldn't sleep on Rosh Hashanah, so that their luck doesn't sleep, etc., etc. So in other words, what's important thing for the month of Tevet is how you deal with the beginning of the month. Let's start with the beginning of the month. And the beginning of the month has to do with Chanukah. It says that Or Chanukah Me'ir et Choshchat Yemei Chodesh Tevet. It says, okay, if you want to catch the month from the beginning, then let's pay attention to what's going on in the beginning. The light of Chanukah is the type of light that illuminates the entire month of Tevet. As we say that a little bit of light, which is in the beginning of the in the beginning of the month, pushes off a lot of darkness from the month. Ktsat or doche harbe choshech. You turn on right now, if you turn off all these lights, and it's going to be completely dark in this room, I'll turn on one candle, and from this little one candle, you're going to see that you can see. That's the month of Tevet. The month of Tevet is one big black room. But what are you going to do? You're going to turn on the Chanukiah, and the Chanukiah is going to, a little bit of the light from the Chanukiah is going to illuminate the entire room. That's what's happening. Ktsat or doche harbe choshech. And as a matter of fact, Hanukkah, how many days of Hanukkah are in the month of Tevet? 3. We got 3 days left. Look at the candles of the Chanukiah. We got 3 days left. But that light of these 3 days is going to push away all the darkness of the entire month. Ktsat or doche harbe choshech. We'll see it in a little bit. There's a very interesting contrast between Hanukkah and Yamim Tovim. This is a very deep lesson. If you're able to internalize this, you got an upgrade. You got a serious upgrade in understanding your religion and understanding God. We say that Hanukkah, ימי חנוכה נקראים ימים טובים. We have this combination of different things that are happening. Like for example, we have Rosh Chodesh and we have Hanukkah. There's something that's called Teva, which is nature, above nature. In order to understand this, in order to fully understand this, I'm going to share with you a lesson from Netivot Shalom. Yemei Chanukah and Rosh Hashanah. What's the difference, if I take a comparison right now, between the days of Chanukah and the days of Rosh Hashanah? So it's very interesting. It says, הנהגה מסודרת לפי סדר הזמן נקבעת בראש השנה. There are things that are decided by way of nature, by way of order on Rosh Hashanah. Remember, we spoke about Rosh Hashanah in the beginning of the class, that everything for the entire year gets decided then. Everything that gets decided of what's going to happen from Rosh Hashanah for the entire year, that's by way of Teva. That's the way of nature. שבו דנים על ירידת השפע ושכר ועונש לפי סדר הזמן. Oh, exactly what we said at the beginning of the class. What happens on Rosh Hashanah? You get judged when that shefa, that abundance, and your reward and punishment comes down by way of nature. He says, however, there's another way. There's another thing that's happening in the year. Besides all the things that have been decided on Rosh Hashanah, עוד הנהגה יותר עליונה למעלה מהסדר מהזמן שהקדוש ברוך הוא בעצמו מנהיגה. There's another storyline, there's another frequency that's going on in the year. One is Teva, and there's something that's מעל הטבע. Throughout the year, there's going to be some things that are not by nature, they're going to be above nature. And those are things that were not decided on Rosh Hashanah, those are things that are decided and handled by Kadosh Baruch Hu himself. הדין בראש השנה הוא על הנהגה המסודרת. Meaning everything that we do on Rosh Hashanah is by way of order and nature. Chanukah, למעלה מן הסדר. למעלה מן הטבע. Know that there are times that things are above nature, and as a matter of fact, there are 2 holidays that are above nature. Which 2 holidays in the entire year are above nature? Purim and Chanukah. All the ones that are mentioned in the Torah, Rosh Hashanah, Kippur, Pesach, Sukkot, Simchat Sukkot, Shavuot, all that's nature, that's Teva. There are 2 holidays that got instituted by the rabbis. Why? Because there were 2 holidays that had something unique to them. They were Me'ala Teva. And if you study the story of Hanukkah and you see the story of Purim, both those stories were above nature. For our lesson, I'm only going to focus in on Hanukkah. He says, because there is a reality of nature and above nature, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made it that a human being can act in that way as well. A human being can have a human experience that's by way of nature, but a human being can also, or Yehudi, can also experience life above nature. So if this is true, if what we're going to continue learning is true, that means that you have to know right now that you have the ability to do things, accomplish, draw into your life things that are above nature. Would you like to know how?
We would love to.
For $19.99 and your credit card, you're more than welcome, line up and I'll share it with you. Right? That's what they do at all these seminars, right? They build you up and then they say, pay me. That's the next course.
I have machine.
You have the machine?
Yeah.
Fine, after 1 year we got it right. And then 12th lesson, you start charging.
In rubles.
Okay, you know what? This one's for free, the next one we charge. This is incredible. He says, Im hu mitnaeg bekoach hateva, if your service of God is going to be the way that you always do, right? I go to shul, I do my daf yomi, I keep Shabbat, I keep my kashrut. Okay, the results of your avodat Hashem is going to be also derech hateva. However, aval אם הוא מתנהג למעלה מהטבע, שמוסר נפשו להשם יתברך, if a person he acts above nature, where he has self-sacrifice for the service of Hashem, מלמעלה, from up above, מתנהגים עמו בהנהגה העליונה שלמעלה מן הסדר. He gets to activate things that are above nature, that are not on the way of teva. ומשפיעים לו כוחות של ישועה על טבעיים, and they give him salvations that are above nature. Now, there are times in the year that this energy is available to us. When is Me'al HaTeva energy available to us? When is the energy of above nature things happening in your life available to us? 2 times, Hanukkah and Purim. During this time, if you have Mesirut Nefesh, that is something that you're going above and beyond the norm, the results are going to be that you're going to yield salvations that are above the norm. Why? Because the energy of Me'al HaTeva is available. That's why when you see people make such a big deal of Purim, such a big deal about Hanukkah. Why? Because Me'al HaTeva actions that are embedded in these days are available to us. So now when they loop around and these days come around, what do? We get plugged in. To what? To Me'al HaTeva energy. Okay, how do I get Me'al HaTeva results? Apply yourself with Mesirut Nefesh B'Avodat Hashem. What does that mean? Each one, dig deep into your heart and see, what is it? What is it that you're not doing in your life? What is it that's so hard for you? Do you pray 3 times a day? Do you learn in the morning? Do you learn at night? I always say, it's always good to give yourself a pie chart of your 24 hours a day. Take your 24 hours and slice them up. 8 hours I'll give you for sleep. Everybody needs 8 hours of sleep. 8 hours for work. What can you do? Parnasa, right? That's 16. Now you got 8. What are you doing with the other 8? Okay, so I'll tell you, you have children, you have a wife, you have to eat, you have to go to the bathroom, no problem. I'll give you 4 hours for all that. What are you doing with the other 4? Are you learning 4? No. Okay, 50% discount. You're doing 2 hours? If I put you on a pie chart, do you have 2 hours of Torah learning in your life? Do you have a Mesirut Nefesh to getting better? Are you learning how to pray? Are you learning the Hashem's Torah? Are you learning the Chumash? Are you learning the Gemara? Mishnah? Are you pushing yourself? Do you have 2 hours? No, you don't have 2 hours. Do you have an hour? No, you don't have an hour. What do you have? You have a sliver, maybe a sliver, like a one little line out of the 24 hours. That's not Mesirut Nefesh. Don't ask for a miracle. People love to check themselves in front of the 8 candles. O Chanukah, Nerot halalu, Kodesh hem. 1 million for this. Zivug for that, twins for her, Bentley for him. Oh, sure. Like, everybody would check himself in front of a Hanukkah candle and get miracles. That's not how you get miracles. How you get miracles? When you, remember what we said, when you activate, you come here, you get recharged. But once we take off the cables, what happens when you take off the cables? Do you go out and do the work? When you go out and do the work, that's when you activate. So now you have a few days left. You have a few days left for the above nature, Ma'ala Teva energy. You got 3 more days. During these 3 more days, what do? You have Rosh Chodesh tomorrow. You have Chanukah. You have Zot Chanukah that's coming up. Apply yourself. Right in 3 days from now, this energy is not here. In a few days from now, it's not here. But what you do on these 3 days that are coming up, or especially on tomorrow, is going to carry over for the entire month. A little bit of light is going to dispel a lot of darkness for the next month. So what do? When you have actions that are Ma'ala Teva, you will yield results that are Ma'ala Teva. But if your actions are the same, expect 0 miracles. Okay? I'm going to burst your bubble and we'll let you know. If you don't apply yourself, don't expect nothing. But if you do apply yourself, expect something. Why? Because the rabbis tell us this is what you do. I'm not making this up. I'm not selling you. There's no product here at the end of the class that I'm asking you to buy. Chazal are telling you how to win Judaism, how to win your life, how to win your religion. They're telling you exactly how to get plugged in. When? Now. For what? Ma'ala Teva effort will result Ma'ala Teva results. So now you go to the deep dark pocket in your brain of like, oh, I wish I had a zivug. Oh, I wish I had children. Oh, I wish I had parnasah. Oh, I wish I had health. Oh, all those things that you wish that you're struggling with, and you need an open miracle for things to happen. No problem. Do something above your nature, something that is mesirut nefesh, that is so hard for you, and Hashem says the same result. I would love to give you a menu of things that you could choose from, but you have to understand that the things that are hardest for you, that's your tikkun. If you can't get up to go to minyan, that's your mesirut nefesh. If you can't pray three tefillot a day or 3 tefillot in a minyan, that's your mesirut nefesh. You can't bring yourself to learn, that's your mesirut nefesh. The things that are hard for you in Judaism, in the practice of the religion, that's the mesirut nefesh. Nobody's asking you to go on top of the altar and tell your father, shecht me for the love of God. That's exclusive to Abraham and Yitzhak. What's for you is to shecht your own yetzer. Turn off the TV, turn off social media, and start connecting to God. Start developing a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Oh, it's hard. Exactly. The things that are hard for you, that's what you're here to work on. And once you work on it, you're going to get the salvation. How happy you are when you're marching down the aisle with your zivug. How happy you are when your bank account is fat and you can pay your bills. And how happy are you when you have your firstborn and it's a brit milah. And how happy are you when you have all when the sickness goes away and you're healthy. And how happy are you when you're just being a happy Jew. To finally get to that point of just being a happy Jew. Understand? So we want to get to that point. Strive. # goals, right? That's what we want to get to. We want to have goals in our lives and reach them. Sometimes we need extra push. We need a miracle to get there. No problem. Plug it in. Give me your jumper cables. I'll show you what Tevet can do. I'll show you what Rosh Chodesh can do. I'll show you what Chanukah can do. I'll show you what Purim can do. The Ma'ala Teva energy. Get charged. Get supercharged. I'm going to disconnect the cables. Get to work.
Show us what can Sharone do.
This is me. It doesn't get. That's it. It doesn't get where you're looking at it. No more, no less. This is it.
As good as it gets.
It's as good as it gets.
Does it apply?
Now, we see that the month of Tevet has a split personality. It's light versus dark, good versus bad, happiness versus sorrows. So how do we navigate this month? And not only that, this month, above all others, its outcome depends mostly on our efforts. If you pay attention, there's some certain things that are going on in the month, they're just there. What's unique about the month of Tevet is you can push it in the direction you want to. There's a fork in the road right in Rosh Chodesh. As soon as you enter the month, there's a fork in the road. Where you want to go? Dark energy, it's already here. You want to turn it positive? Apply yourself. This is the first month where you really, really feel that I have a real part in how this month is going to pan out. And there's nothing better when you start to live out your religion or live out your Yiddishkeit when knowing that it depends on your service. This month comes to show you who you are. Comes to show you that you have power, that you control. You might get swept by the energy of Pesach. You might get swept by the energy of the high holidays. Tevet comes and exposes you and says, here's a month. The way it's going to be, dark or light, happy, sad, good, bad, is about how you apply yourself. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, wow, I wonder what kind of month it's going to be. I wonder what powers I have as a Jew to navigate this month in the right direction. So, I want to go to I want to raise your awareness to a couple of things. In order to know how to navigate this month. Pay attention to the things that are coming up during this time. We have Shabbat, we have Rosh Chodesh, and we have Chanukah. What's the common thread through all of them? What's the common denominator of Shabbat, Rosh Chodesh, and Chanukah? They're all spiritual prime times for Teshuvah. Shabbat, it's in the word Shabbat. If you take the letters of Shabbat, Bagalet into Tav Shin Bet, Tashuv. Come back. Teshuvah is when we come back to our spiritual self. Right? Rosh Chodesh, I'm talking about Shabbat. We return from the 6 days of the mundane to our true spiritual self on Shabbat. Rosh Chodesh, Yom Kippur Katan. Yom Kippur is a day of atonement. Rosh Chodesh is Yom Kippur Katan. Again, Teshuvah. Chanukah is also has to do with Teshuvah. Why? Because it's the last stop in the Teshuvah season. We mentioned it in the last class. I'll mention it again. There's a pasuk in Tehillim that says, Tashuv enosh ad daka, vatomer shuv bnei adam. We know that in the whole Teshuvah season or Teshuvah process, for those that are pros, they started in Tammuz. As the acronym for Tammuz is Yemet Teshuvah, Zman Teshuvah memashmesh umegia. That's Rashi. Zman Teshuvah memashmesh umegia. Teshuvah time is coming, Tammuz, for those that want to get started. Comes the month of Av. What's the acronym? Elul ba. Get ready. Elul's coming. Comes Elul. That's it. We're there. Anile dodi vedodi li. The king is in the field. That's it. 40 days of Teshuvah. We start with Selichot. We start with introspection. We bang on our chest. We start singing. Our sins away. And then we get to Judgment Day. Rosh Hashanah. Then we have a Setim Teshuvah. Incredible envelope of time for Teshuvah. Incredible for those that know what to do on those days. Then we have Yom Kippurim, the Day of Atonement. The day itself that passes over a person atones for his sins. And then of course we know that as the holiday passes on, we go even to Hoshana Rabbah. And Hoshana, it completes, Na is Nun Aleph 51. It completes a 51-day process that we started from Rosh Chodesh Elul up until Hoshana Rabbah, where we say Pitka Tava, that the angels get the final Pitka, because why? We got the judgment on Rosh Hashanah. Great. Aseret Yemei Teshuvah, we could switch it. You didn't do it on Aseret Yemei Teshuvah, you want to do it? Okay, no problem. You have Sukkot. After Sukkot, you have the Tikkun of Rosh Hashanah Rabbah. And then you also have on the 51st day that Hashem gives the Pitka to the angels. Go. You're dispatched. Here's the work. But what most people don't know is that Teshuvah season actually goes a little bit longer. It goes all the way to Chanukah. And that's what this pasuk in Tehillim says. Tashuv enosh ad daka. We know that a human being can go to several levels. He can go to be an Adam, and Ish and Enosh. Enosh is the lowest level. So he says Teshuv Enosh. Who's Enosh? Enosh is the lowest level Jew. The guy that did no Teshuvah. When does Enosh come back? Ad Daka. What's Daka? Dalet is 4. Chaf is 20. Aleph is 1. 4 plus 20 is 24. Plus 1 is 25. 25th, the 25th of Kislev. 25th of Kislev is the last stop for the Teshuvah season. Teshuv Enosh, Ad Daka, the lowest level guy that didn't do Teshuvah, let him come to the 25th of Kislev. Vatomer, Shuv Bnei Adam, and come back to be an Adam. Come back to be the high level one. So we see that Hanukkah is also a time of Teshuvah. So we have Shabbat Teshuvah, we have Rosh Chodesh is Teshuvah, and we have Hanukkah is Teshuvah. As a matter of fact, it's even hinted in the parashiyot, in Parashat Vayeshev and Parashat Miketz, the two parashiyot that are in the times of Hanukkah. It's very interesting because right now we just had Hanukkah start in Parashat Vayeshev. There it is, it's in the words. What's the name of the parasha? Vayeshev. And he came back, he did Teshuvah. Vayeshev. Specifically in the time of Hanukkah, Vayeshev. Why? Tashev Enosh Adaka. He came back. But we also have in Parashat Miketz this week, in Perek Mem Gimel Pasuk Yud, it says, there's a pasuk that says, Kilule hitmahamanu ki ata shavnu ze pa'amayim. What does that pasuk mean? It says, since we delayed ourselves, now we came back for the second time. This is the whole story with Yosef, his brothers, that they came back with the goblet and the sacks. That's what the background of the story. But by the way of drash, look how we interpret this pasuk. Ki lule. What's the word lule? If you read it backwards, elul. Ki lule. Ki elul hitma'amanu. What happened in elul? Hitma'amanu. We delayed. We didn't do the work. Ki ata. Now it's miketz. Right? The Teshuvah season is like 3 months ago, 3-4 months ago. Ki ata. Shavnu. We're going to come back into Teshuvah ze pa'amayim. Why 2 times? We tried to do it over there. We couldn't do it. So we have to come to round 2, which is what? During this month. So we see that the time of Hanukkah is a time of Teshuvah, the last chance that you can ask Teshuvah for the whole past year of sins. And what do we know about Teshuvah? We learned this also in the class of Rosh Hashanah. We learned that Teshuvah got created before the world was created. Masechet Nedarim on the 39th page on the second side says, Kodem shenivra ha'olam, before the world got created, Sheva dvarim shenivreu kodem shenivra ha'olam. 7 things that got created before the world was created. What are they? Meaning our world that is governed by space, time, and matter, right? That's the reality that we live in as humans, right? We're confined to space, time, and matter. What was created before this reality? Torah, Teshuvah. Teshuvah got created before this world was created. Gan Eden, Gehenom, Kisah Kavod, Bet HaMikdash, Shmo Shel Mashiach. But over here, what we want to know, the Teshuvah got created before this world was created. What is all this introduction for? Because the world that we live in is governed by nature. And we're limited to space, time, and matter. However, Teshuvah is not limited to those rules and confines. Teshuvah is Me'al HaTeva. Because it got created before Teva, Teshuvah is what? Me'al HaTeva. So we see that Rosh Chodesh is Me'al HaTeva because of the Teshuvah. The Shabbat is Me'al HaTeva because of the Teshuvah that's available there. And Hanukkah is Me'al HaTeva because of the Teshuvah that's embedded over there. So I'm trying to explain to you, when I say Me'al HaTeva, I'm not trying to wow you. I'm not trying to put all these sparklers and shiny lights. Oh, Me'al HaTeva, so you can get excited, so you can get a result. I'm backing it up. I'm letting you know that Me'al HaTeva energy is here, not because Sharone says it, because the Gemara backs it up, the holiday backs it up, Shabbat backs it up, the spiritual energy of the Chagim back it up. The whole point over here is, are you going to know how to get plugged into it and draw your own Me'al HaTeva results of your own life? That zivug, that parnasah, that briut, all those things. Because it's there. These layers and layers and layers of understanding is to show you that it's there. To prove to you that it's there. So you can believe it's there. Because when you believe it's there, you'll do the work and try to get your own share of it. Your own slice of Ma'ala Teva reality in your own life. Now, before we learn the formula of how to activate above nature results in the month of Tevet, I want to give you another example of a side-by-side comparison of Rosh Hashanah to Chanukah. Well, you know what? I'll sum it up for you so we can go to a better part. When we do things, when we function by way of nature, when we do things by way of nature, you're going to get by nature result, teva results. But when we do things above the norm, the results will be nisi ma'ala teva. So each person knows what's their norm, right? What's your red line? What is it that you do? For example, if you wake up tomorrow and say, you know what, from now on, no matter what, Mesirut Nefesh, I'm not missing Minyan. That's your Mesirut Nefesh. When Hashem, after 120 years, when Hashem brings you up to the Shammai and says, where was your Mesirut Nefesh? I never miss Minyan. Or you say, you know what, my Mesirut Nefesh, I'm never missing Daf Yomi. Yom Kippur, I'm doing a Daf. My wife is in labor, I'm doing a daf. It's my son's bar mitzvah, I'm doing a daf. I wake up early, I go to sleep late, whatever it is, Mesirut Nefesh. Pick something that you say, no matter what, this is my mitzvah. I'm never going to drink a glass of water without saying She'akol. There's not going to be a day that passes by that I don't learn 2 halachot. What's your Mesirut Nefesh? Keep in mind, if you choose something right now and say, this is my Mesirut Nefesh, and you stick to it, you can go up to the Shemaim and they tell you, where was your Yitzchak Avinu energy? Where was your Yitzchak Avinu Mesirut Nefesh? You tell them, this book. Every day, 1 page from this book. Me? Go look at the minyan. There was not one minyan that wasn't there, the one of the first 10. Or that's my Mesirut Nefesh. When you do that, I'm just giving you examples. For the woman, your Mesirut Nefesh, I love my hair. Look at my highlights, look at the color, look at the shading, look at the curly, look at the crimpled. No. Cover. My Mesirut Nefesh, that I cover the beauty and it's for you, Hashem. Not for my husband, even though the hair is the beauty for the husband. But imagine your Mesirut Nefesh, Hashem, for you. I'm a daughter of a king. I'm supposed to look like this for you. It's the hardest thing for me. For women, it's so hard, the hair. You don't understand it. The woman, the hair. For you, Hashem. I'm never going to walk with a skirt that's below the knee, that's above the knee. Ever. Mesirut Nefesh, for you, Hashem. I'm never going to curse. Mom, you see this mouth will never be a trash can. Mesirut Nefesh. Mesirut Nefesh, I'm never going to speak Lashon Hara. Listen, accept Lashon Hara. No matter what. They're going to talk, I get up, I go, I fold my ears, whatever it is. Mesirut Nefesh. I'm trying to give you real easy examples. What I'm trying to say is, Mesirut Nefesh activates the miracles that you're looking for. And it's not something mega. You could say, you know what, Abba, from now on, there's not going to be a day where I don't read 1 parak of Tehillim. That's what Mesirut Nefesh. Every single day I read 1 parak of Tehillim. That's doable, ladies and gentlemen. That's doable. That's 1. And you technically can check the box of Mesirut Nefesh. And you'll get tested. You'll get tested on that day that you won't be able to, and I forgot. You'll get tested. But that's when you get tested. No. Everything on the side. This first. And later on, you'll see that Mesirut Nefesh energy carries on to the rest of your service. Later on, you'll see that this is child's play, 1 parak of Tehillim. I don't go a day without a book of Tehillim. Wow, pro level. Wow, right? May we merit. Perfection. You want that Ma'ala Teva results, you need to activate Mesirut Nefesh. Just like the Hashmonaim. Could you imagine? It's like one family gets up, okay, it's us versus Iran. What? The whole family gets up, yeah, let's go, yeah. Us, entire, and whoever is coming, it's all of us against them. Mesirut Nefesh. And they were able to activate miracles. And they won. Makes no sense, right? So when you want the things that don't make sense in your life to make sense, and win your challenges, that's how you activate it. And when? Now. Now's the time. plug in your jumper cables, do the Mesirut Nefesh, and then once we disconnect, you continue on your own. You need the stamina to keep going, to activate your Shefa. So to summarize, Rosh Hashanah is Seder Teva, Kochot Tivi'im. Chanukah is Ma'ala Teva, Kochot Al Tivi'im. So we have things that are running by nature, things that are running above nature. Right now, and we're in above nature energy. So Tevet, as we said in the beginning of the month, is a dark month, but it has light in it. Where is this light coming from? It's from us. The light is coming from us, from Chanukah, from our actions. So when we take the month of Kislev and Tevet, which are both dark months, and we put them together and we wrap them up, end of one, the beginning of one, with the light of Chanukah. And by the way, it's so ironic. You know, we've been learning from this book, Bnei Saschar, for the entire year. It's so funny that we talk about the combining of Kislev Tevet. All his books are 1 month. All his ma'amarim are one month at a time. You open up the book of Kislev Tevet, look, Ma'amare, Choche, Kislev Tevet. And the entire thing is Kislev Tevet. He actually, even in his teaching, took the 2 months and combined them together. Most of his ma'amarim are about Chanukah, nevertheless, but you see that these 2 months have a similar energy that they're sharing. I want to ask a big question, because this is something that the more I thought about it, the more it became more interesting. What's the difference between nature and a miracle? We're just talking about Teva, Me'ala Teva. Teva, Me'ala Teva. Nature, above nature. What's the difference between nature and above nature? What's about the difference between nature and miracles?
Nature is something that goes that people used to see. It's like accepted as something that they see, that they have experienced. And miracle is something that people, like unbelievable, something that they never seen in a life.
It's exactly that. If you think about nature and above nature, nature is something that we're used to. It's common. Above nature is something, random, this is out of the blue, something unique, right? But if you look at it, miracle and nature are the same. B'chinat HaTeva v'b'chinat she'me'al HaTeva einam menugdot. They don't cancel each other out. There's a famous story in Ta'anit on the 25th page on the first side about this oil that became vinegar, and they were worried how it would light. So it says over there. So the answer of the rabbi, when they told him, what are we going to do? The oil turned into vinegar. He had such an incredible answer. He said, Misha amar l'shemen vayidlok, u'yomer l'chometz vayidlok. He says the same God that says for the oil, makes the oil able to be illuminated, he also can make what? The chometz illuminate.
The vinegar.
The vinegar. Which means what? That we're used to oil lighting. That's nature. Vinegar lighting? Above nature. Why?
Same thing.
It's the same thing. Because the same God that made the oil burn by nature, he has the same power to light the vinegar that's above nature. But what's the difference? It says, En la teva yoter higayon ma sheyesh lenes. It says, the deeper you look into it, Chazal tell us that there's no more logic to nature than there is to above nature or to a miracle. One is common and one is less common. For example, En ben hashavua shel B'riyat ha'olam leshavua shel Nes Chanukah. He says, what are you making such a big deal of the week of Chanukah? What about the regular 7 days? The 7 days of creation. They're not regular 7 days. The regular week is not just as incredible as the week of Chanukah. What's so great about the week of Chanukah that's not great about a regular week? He says, אלא ששבעת ימי בראשית חוזרים על עצמם בכל פעם. We know that Kadosh Baruch Hu is recreating the 7 days of creation every single day. Meaning, this is, Hashem didn't create the world and He says, okay, see ya in 6,000 years, right? He didn't say. He's recreating the world every single second over and over and over again.
Constantly.
Yeah. And Chanukah is 1 week that comes a year. So what are you getting excited? From 1 week a year? Get excited from the 1 week that's looping 52 times. We should be more mitpa'alim, more excited, or more not excited, but rather impressed with the regular week that is an incredible ongoing miracle than the miracle of Chanukah. For example, let me ask you a question, just like common things that we take for granted. Our vision is not a miracle? A human eye, the way that it works and the way that we're able to see, that's not a miracle? Hearing, the way that the ear works and with the equilibrium and the liquid that's in there, that's not a miracle? Human life is not a miracle? A working human body is not a miracle? The ecosystem of the world, of how things grow, like the grass and the trees, is not a miracle? How about, I don't know what we have here. We have here fruit. How about an apple? Apple's not a miracle. Then you take that seed, you put it into the ground, it becomes this tree. The tree has branches, fruit. You eat the fruit. Inside the fruit, there's another seed put into the ground, planted. That's not a miracle? That's not a miracle. An apple is not a miracle. Planet Earth suspended in the middle of space is not a miracle. Meaning the things that we say, teva, nature, are an incredible miracle. So why are we so wowed by Hanukkah? Why we want to get plugged into Ma'ala Teva? What about the Teva itself is incredible.
The action we took.
The whole class is about that. To give you the punchline, it's all our actions. It's all our action. That's all. The whole thing, the whole that we said, the month, when we say the month of Tevet, it's as soon as you start, it's a fork in the road. As soon as the month starts, your action depends how this month is going to be, dark or light. But we'll give it more layers, so it's a little bit more palpable. So at the end of the day, whether you see things nature or above nature, it's all on how you see it. It's your vision. And over here, in Sefer Yetzirah, it discusses this very point in regards to this month. It talks about the letter Ayin. It says, Hemlich ot Ayin berogez. We know that if you recall, in every single month we learn about the tribe of the month, the jewel of the month, the letters of the month, the planet of the month, all these things, God's Yud-Kei Vav-Kei name of the month, all the things that are pertaining to the month. So in Sefer Yetzirah it says that the month of Tevet has to do with the letter Ayin, and it says Hemlich et ot Ayin berogez. Now, the Arizal says that the letter Ayin that is connected to the month of Tevet has to do with anger. Come the Geonim, and they say, no, Arizal, no. Ot Ayin bishok. The letter Ayin is about the joy, the laughter of this month. So we have two opinions. There's a letter Ayin that belongs to the month of Tevet. Arizal says it has to do with anger. Geonim say it has to do with shok. One says anger, the other one says laughter. Two complete opposites. Just like we said, this entire month is like a split personality. It can go one way or the other. So let's see if it could be both. Look what it says over here. He says ha'ot ayin, the letter ayin, symbolizes havana v'hariyah hapnimit, the internal way that we process things. Meaning, what I use my eye and how I process things is completely different from the guy next to me. And also completely different from that guy also. Every single person, we all right now can see the exact same thing, and us internally process it completely different according to what? Our education, our viewpoint, our mindset, our values, our morals, upbringing, surrounding, all that changes the way you process things. So that's why it says Ayin is something that could be either or. Havana v'hariyah pnimit. Kol adam Shoneh me'adam lechaviro. Every single person sees it differently. Ayin tova, but it says ayin tova is when a person has a good eye, when he processes everything positive. Ayin ra'ah, when a person has a bad eye, when he sees everything negative. That's why when you say, if a person sees it in ayin tova, yireh schok, yireh ba'ayin ra'ah, yireh rogez. That's why if a person on this month, he's going to take his eye and he's going to see how he processes things. How do you process things this month? If you're going to process it negatively, it's going to lead to anger. If you're going to process it positively, it's going to lead to laughter. Once again, we see that we have control on which way this month goes, on the way that we visualize things. By the way, that something interesting that I mentioned, according to Kabbalah of the Arizal, he says that when they talk about the ayin of this month, it's ayin yamin. It happens to be the right eye. And what we know about the right eye versus the left eye is the right eye typically is bechinat ayin tova. The right eye corresponds to seeing things positively. It's the complete opposite from anger. However, ish rasha gamur od yesh lo tikva. He says we learn from here that even a person is completely wicked, he still has hope. Why? Ki bekocho litapech mira letov. He has the ability to flip things from bad to good. V'tevet b'shana, and this month of Tevet in the Shana, shu chodesh Tevet meyuchad lezman ha'ipuch. This month is auspicious to flip things over for good. Hence the name Tevet, Tov. So here comes the negative month, and now we're able to find what? Good in it. Good. How? Use your good eye. Ayin Yamin, Ayin Tova, process everything positively, and all of a sudden everything it flips to positive on a dark month. The minute I saw that, it brings me to my famous story. The famous Baal Shem Tov story. That maybe some people over here have heard it 100 times. Get ready for 101. And for some of you that have never heard it before, you're going to love it. It's my favorite Baal Shem Tov story. There's a famous story about an old man that came to the Baal Shem Tov, and he says, Baal Shem Tov, bless me. I'm over 70 years old and I'm still doing physical work. He says, not only that, my daughter was married to a Rasha and was giving her such a hard time, and she ran away from him, and now she's no longer with him, but she's living with me in the house. And I have now 5 grandkids running around the house, like making all balagan. Please, Baal Shem Tov, give me a beracha. So the Baal Shem Tov looks at him and he tells him, Bekarov tir'eh yeshuot. Soon you will see salvations. So after a few weeks, the students of the Baal Shem Tov had a good custom to always, had a good good hanaga, to always see what came of the Rav's berachot or advice. So they say, remember that old man that was here a few weeks ago and he asked for the Baal Shem Tov's beracha? He says, let's go visit with him, let's see what he says. So they looked around town, they finally found him, they knock on the door, and wouldn't you know, that old man opens up the door and he has a huge smile on his face. So they tell him, hey, aren't you the guy that was with the Baal Shem Tov 2 weeks ago? You asked him for beracha, and you told him about all these things that are happening in your life that were so terrible? He's like, yeah, that's me. He says, that's you. He says, but you look so happy. What changed? So you tell him, nothing changed. Nothing changed? Then why are you so happy? He says, you know why I'm so happy? Because I'm 70 years old and I can still do physical work. He says, I have my wife, I have my daughter, she was living with a Rasha, now she no longer has to live with him, she's here with me. And my grandchildren, I used to see them once in a great while, now look at them, they're running around, I hear laughter in my home. What changed? Nothing changed. So the Rav said, soon you will see salvations. Bekarov tir'eh yeshut, which means what? Nothing changed, his outlook changed. He went from a negative outlook to a positive outlook. When you have a positive outlook, the reality doesn't need to change. The way you process it is different. The way you process it is better. And this is what the Ayin Tova, the Ayin Yemina, the what's the Ayin Tova, that brings you to see the world of Schok, not of Rogez. And that's what this month is about. This month is when you train yourself to see good in the world. And when you see good in the world, then you're able to go out into the world and bring light onto the world. And this is why right now we're in the middle of Hanukkah. Why are we in the middle of Hanukkah? Because we are the light unto the nations. This month comes to teach you that you are the light up to the nation. You are positive. And when you're positive, you shine. And when you shine, you bring a lot of light into the world. And when you bring a lot of light into the world, you're able to illuminate. And when you're able to illuminate, you're able to make a difference into the world. I'm going to touch on this in a second. Just wanted to explain a little bit more about this positive outlook. Remember, it's all about how we see. Pay attention also to the mitzvah of Hanukkah, with the Hanukkah candles. What do we say? Hanerot halalu kodesh hem. And then they're so holy, these lights, that what are we instructed? She'en lanu reshut ela lir'otam bilvad.
Only to see them.
Interesting that the mitzvah of this Chag is what? Vision. Lir'otam bilvad. Why? Because the light of the Chag is here to fix. They say that the light of the candles, organus, that hidden light, also what's over there, it's able to rectify vision. It's able to rectify anything that a person did with looking in improper places in his younger years or whatever it is. But another thing is what? It's able to rectify for you to have an ayin tovah. Lirotam bilvad. Look at those candles. Why? This month is where you fix the eyes. You fix your vision. You fix your positive outlook. It's a boost. Here, take this one. You go to the Chanukiah, they also give you jumper cables. Here, positive outlook.
It's good I put the iron on our flyer.
Very good.
With deep background.
Another layer. So we see that it's your outlook, your positive vision, your positive outlook that can change the energy of the month from Rogez, Litzchok. Who decides? You decide. Who controls? You control. This month comes to teach you have power. And if you want to activate to see real power, do Mesirut Nefesh. Sometimes it's good to test the religion, right? Sometimes like, show me. Right? Like Hashem says, it's incredible how Hashem also puts it out there on Maaser. Ubechanuni bezot, right? It says, test me on that. Good. Do Maaser, let me show you, you'll become rich. It's like incredible how, like most people fight so much for the money where Hashem tells you, here's the formula, just give Maaser, you'll get there. So, Tevet is a month that has huge potential for good. In the beginning, we're like, oh, it's a dark month. More and more and more we see, well, it's a great month. Are you kidding me? Look what's going on over here. It has a huge potential for good, but it all depends on how you apply yourself. And this too is hinted in the story of Hanukkah. When we're steeped in spiritual darkness, what's the job of the Jew? To bring light into the world. What's the universal sign of Jews in the world? What's the universal sign for Jews in the world?
Light.
Magen David or?
Menorah.
Menorah more than Magen David. If you see, when people see the menorah, they know for sure it's a Jew. Nowadays, it's like you see the Magen David, Zionist, Jew, they confused it. Menorah for sure, Jew, right? Menorah, if you ever think about it, why is the menorah the symbol of the Jew? Because we're a light unto the nations. As a matter of fact, there's a minhag to have this Perek of Tehillim inside, written, and by the way, it says that the shield of David HaMelech when he went to war looked like this. Looked like the menorah with the 67th chapter of Tehillim written to it. Some people have a minhag to read it. The Ben Ishai says that you hold it up to your face so it illuminates the menorah of the face, and you read it according. And there's different nusachim, whether you read it from the left to the right or right to the left, whether it's rounded or if it's straight lines, Ramban. Nevertheless, pay attention to this. Perek 67 of Tehillim. It's the symbol of Judaism, the menorah. Let me see how many times in this menorah, in this Perek of Tehillim, it talks about Jews. Or, let's see how many times it talks about Gentiles. It says, למנצח בגינות מזמור שיר, אלוהים יכולים לברכנו, יאר פניו איתנו סלע. לדעת בארץ דרכך, בכל גויים ישועתך. יודוך עמים, אלוהים, יודוך עמים כולם. ישמחו ויראינו לאומים, כי תשפוט עמים מישור, ולאומים בארץ לכם סלע. יודוך עמים, אלוהים, יודוך עמים כולם. ארץ נתנה יבולה, ואכן אלוהים בינינו, ואכן אלוהים ויראו אותו כל אפסי הארץ. I'm not going to include אפסי הארץ, it's a little bit derogatory, the zeros of the world, but in the book, in the Perek 67 of Tehillim, that is inside the menorah, that represents the Jewish people, not one time, look how many times we mentioned Goyim. 8 times. Why 8 times? To show us that we are a light unto the nations. We are the light. We are the ones supposed to illuminate the world with the light of a Jew to the nations. It's hinted in the menorah. That is our purpose. To illuminate the dark in the world with the way of Hashem. להוציא את הטוב, להטיב בחושך. We know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu הוא טוב ומטיב. HaKadosh Baruch Hu הוא טוב ומטיב. We're here to emulate God. If God is good and everything that He does is good, and we are in the image of God, and He also gave us the extra status of Beni Bechori Israel, that we are His firstborn child, then we have to be exactly like Him, right? So if HaKadosh Baruch Hu Tov U'Mativ, what should we be? We should also be good. We're supposed to bring the goodness into the world. Lativ b'choshech, that even when there's darkness, spiritual darkness, or just darkness in general in the world, who's going to be a light unto the nations? The Jew, that's our job. תפקיד של יהודי, להאיר את החושך שבעולם. The role of a Jew is to illuminate the world with the light of God, with the light of the Torah. Let's compare. Let's do some current events. Everybody loves current events. We have demonstrations all over the world. Did you ever see like those, I know when I was younger, there used to be like 2 pictures, and you have to circle the differences between one and the other, right? Still today? It's a thing? Okay. Let's do the same thing. Let's do a comparison. Let's do Palestinian demonstrations, Jewish demonstrations, right? You see all those Palestine demonstrations, violence, arrest, hate. It's like, you look at it, it's like you sense the danger on the video. You want to throw the phone away, you don't want to touch it. Like, what's going on over there? You look at a demonstration of Jews, guitars, holding Megillah, the Torah is up there, minyanim, they're singing.
Peaceful.
Peaceful. You see, I've heard this many different times. You know, the police officers always comment, like, it's unbelievable. We just had 100,000 Jews over here, not one arrest. You know, they do the siyum of the Shas in what's the name of that stadium? MetLife Stadium. They say over there every single weekend they have maybe 20, 30 arrests, people getting drunk, fighting, stabbing. Who knows what's going on over there? He says every single week there's arrests. Come the Jews to do the siyum, nothing. They get thank yous. How are you? Can I get you a hot dog? They treat them nice. Thousands of Jews, not one arrest. What's the difference? That's the difference. We're different. We were like the promoters of Hashem. We're here. We're like the poster children to being a good person, to the values of God. Their focus is killing people. Our focus is saving people. Even in the middle of a provoked war, right? They brought this on, right? They said they attacked us. They use technology, even like the Goyim, you see them, they got technology, right? Wow, we're in the age of technology, okay? The age of Google, everything's at your fingertips. What do? Oh, let's build bombs, let's build nukes so we can kill each other. Give a Jew technology, what does he do? He creates the USB, creates Wi-Fi, creates GPS, creates microchip processors. What they care about? The fastest, biggest bomb that I can kill you with. The Jewish people are just advancing the world technology. Look at us in the world. Everything with us is I don't know how many Nobel Peace Prize we've won, and Israel is the #1 for high-tech companies. Yeah, the proof is in the pudding. We're just different. You can't deny. You can do all the propaganda. You can do all the lies. It doesn't matter. And the more it's going to be inevitable is when we live through our Jewish essence. This is when we're 80% secular, 20% religious. Imagine if we flipped it. If we were 80% religious and 20% secular. You know what Kiddush Hashem is going to be in the world? You know how they look up to us? They love us. They love us because we're being exactly what we're supposed to be. The Jewish representation of the human representation of God. We're emulating HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Tov Mativ. Our job is to be Tov. In the month of Tevet, we're supposed to sort of like come out of our shell for the upcoming year again. This is who we are. The month of Tevet is where we shine naturally. Our essence is to do good. But it's like a reminder in case we forgot. To stay positive and be a light unto the nations. That's why the beginning of the month is what? A tremendous amount of light. Chanukah. Oh, you forgot? Let me give you the light of Chanukah. Now what? The rest of the month, it's on you. It's on you. You're a good Jew. You're going to continue into the path. Ayin Tovah. You're working on your Ayin Tovah? Good. You're going to ROSH CHODESH class? You're learning what's the energy for the month? Good, good, good. If not, you go to... take that exit. The month of Tevet is almost like us getting into... going to 2.0, the next level. Every year, come to Tevet, a better version of ourselves. Because we can be tzchok, or we can be anger. We can be happy, we can be joyful, we can be laughing, or we can be angry. Even look at how we fight the war, by the way. Look at how Jews fight wars. We're unified, we're singing, there's moral support, we're praying, we're connecting to Hashem. We're even warning them before we attack. We send texts. We're dropping pamphlets. We're giving them time to flee. We gave them 3 weeks before we went into a ground war. Who does that? Who fights a war like that? A war is war. That's it. There's no more rules. You came to kill me, I'm coming to kill you. Whatever happens in the end, we'll figure it out later. We're like surgically, technically getting into neighborhoods to make sure that we don't hurt a puppy or a kitten on the way. Who fights like that? Only Jews. Why? Not because the world is watching, because God is watching. Because Hashem is watching. That's what we have that tzlacha. Hashem is watching us. If we were acting like barbarians, Hashem told you, my boys don't act like barbarians. If we were going there, chas v'shalom, raping, pillaging, and putting babies in ovens, you think Hashem will have us our back and give us those miracles? He'll tell you just like them. No way. But because we act like that, the Kiddush Hashem we do, even in the war zone, is what we see this tremendous amount of atzlacha. Because we're a light unto the nation. I'll say a little bit more. They spread lies, right? I mean, I try not to watch too much, but the little bit that I watch, it leaves such like an impression on me. Like they use fake babies. Do you see the guy that like cried?
Yeah.
It's a doll.
Yeah.
Like, seriously? You got body bags that are moving. What do they call it? Hollywood, right? And the social media propaganda. Oh my God! I mean, somebody's paying for those ads and for those things. It's incredible. What I like about this, though, I can tell you, have no fear. Hashem is here. Even in the energy of the Chag. What was the Chashmonaim? Mil Hashem Elai. Who's with God? Who's with the Jews? Expose yourself. Show yourself. It's so beautiful to see the world, like Kriyat Yam Suf. Good to the right, bad to the left. You can see it's so beautiful. It's like, thank you for finally taking off the mask and exposing yourself. I don't have to think good of you anymore. You are bad. The whole world right now, Mil Hashem Elai. Hashem is doing this by design. He wants everybody to come out of the woodworks and say, I hate the Jews, I don't like the Jews, I'm for this, I'm against for that. And the ones that are for why? It's a birur, right? We're sifting through. Because in a little bit, all the ones that chose one side, there's an app for that. Hashem's going to deal with it. Right? And all the ones that stood, they're going to have sachar. All this is by design. Who's in the darkness and who's in the light? We cherish light, they cherish death, we value life. It's two different mindsets. Their ultimate goal is to die. Our ultimate goal is to live. The Torah tells us, we're supposed to choose life. They value their ultimate thing from the minute that they wake up and from the minute that they're born. is to one day die. How can you live life like that? It's a dark month. You bring the light into it. The split personality of this month is that you have two energies working at the same time. It's up to you what you give power to. The default setting, dark. It's a month that belongs to Esav. But the above nature power is here for you for the taking and to take the month in a completely different direction. What? Just be you. The essence of a Jew. Just bring the light onto the world. Bring the light onto your own life. Connect to the Torah. Connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The tribe of this month is the tribe of Dan. The Bnei Yissaschar says that Dan was the first one to bring the downfall to the Jews when they were the first to worship idolatry outside of Egypt. I don't know if you guys know this midrash, but Shevet Dan had Micha. If you remember, I'll read it for you from Bnei Yissaschar. Hana atchalata de puranata hi b'chodesh hazeh daika. He says, you know why the negative energy is specifically for the month of Tevet? Velo chinam hu. It's not like that's it just is a negative month. Something happened there. Something happened there in order to create this month to have this negative energy that's in it. You know why this month is a negative month? Because it's connected to Dan. What did Dan do? What did the tribe of Dan do to make this month a negative month? Asher bahem hayat halat avodah zara pesel micha kayadua. There was a pesel micha. There was a small little idol called pesel micha that they brought with them for in the time of Yetziat Mitzrayim, and then there's the whole story over there with Micha, what he did, even in the time of Matan Torah. Since it was him that started Avodah Zarah, and that's the month that's connected to them, then it's a negative month. However, we said that this month has a split personality, right? Which means that if the Shevet Dan is the one that caused something negative to come into this month, then they're going to be, ironically, also the ones that get us out of it. What was the blessing that Yaakov gave the Shevet Dan? If you remember, Yehi Dan nachash ale derech, right? And he gave him a special berecha, Leishuatecha kiviti Adonai.
Hashem.
You can actually say Leishuatecha kiviti Adonai, because it's one of those pesukim, the few pesukim that's 3 words. Leishuatecha kiviti Adonai is a full pasuk. So if you ever want to just say a pasuk and get sachar for learning, Leishuatecha kiviti Adonai, Leishuatecha kiviti Adonai, Leishuatecha kiviti Adonai, all day long you're saying a pasuk from the Torah. And by the way, ROSH CHODESH lucky. So what is Leishuatecha kiviti Adonai? I wait for your salvation. I'm waiting for your salvation. Why is this so important? Shevet Dan brought the idol of Micha and tainted the month of Tevet. However, the Shevet Dan has something positive. It says in the time of Ikveta de Mashiach, oh, that's us. All right? Pick up your antenna, press record. This is our generation. Let's see what it says. Ikveta de Mashiach, Kasher milchamot hiyu kvedot minaso. The wars are going to be too difficult to handle. Why? Because it's going to be Ki Yadin Hashem Amo. Hashem is going to judge his nation. As it says in Parashat Ha'azinu, Hatkufa Atida Liot Bimot HaMashiach. That's the time that Hashem is going to judge his nation. Nizdakek Lekoach HaMiyuchad Shel Yehi Dan Nachash Ale Darech. He said, when the time comes in Ikveta de Mashiach, where Hashem Dan Otanu judges us, and it's going to be strict times, then what do we need? We need Shevet Dan. And why do we need Shevet Dan? Because the Shevet Dan has a special beracha. What is beracha? Leishuatecha kiviti Adonai. Meaning what? That we have this hope that even though we have a little lamb surrounded by 70 wolves, all this Palestinians and all the Arab nations and all the Goyim that are all now supporting them full-heartedly. They ignored the 7th of October. And now it's all about the poor Palestinians and all the children. And stop with the Bollywood. Yeshuatecha kiviti Hashem, Hashem, I pray for the hope, כדי לנצח את האויבים בעת הגאולה. Because we're going to need the help of HaKadosh Baruch Hu at the time of the Geulah. Does anybody know how Dan used to fight? Dan, how he used to fight? They say he would take with his sword. He was able to go one shot like this and knock down from the guy's head, shoulder, and half a body. Very, very strong.
Good surgery.
Huh?
Very good surgery.
Very good surgery. For example, and not only that, who beheaded Esav? Hushim. Hushim was a mute, right? And he sees that his grandfather is supposed to be buried, Yaakov. And all of a sudden it stopped. They're in front of Ma'arat HaMachpelah. Everybody's crying, Yaakov, but nothing is moving. Hushim doesn't understand anything. He sees what's going on. So they point at Esav like he's delaying it. Why? Because Esav says, no, it's my plot. This is for me. Hushim says, well, you're in the way of my grandfather. He took the sword. Boom! He beheaded Esav. Esav's head rolled into Yitzhak's right here. You know, like a little teddy bear. He went like to lay down with his Abba. And then they were able to do Yaakov. Dan has a very, very strong power at the time of Mashiach to help us with our wars. Am Yisrael imumot haolam hi milchama tmidit. We have a constant war. Meaning that even the one who got us into trouble, which for the month, which is Dan, he also has the power to get us out. I want to conclude with one last thing about the word. You know, in our when we bless the month, we say Chaim shel Osher v'chavod, Chaim shel. There's like 11 things that we say in the blessing of the month. In the month of Tevet, there's one part that connects to it, and it says over there, Chaim shel Tova. And Chaim shel Tova is connected to the month of Tevet. So my question is, why is it say Chaim shel Tova? For those of you that speak Hebrew over here, let's get a little bit grammatical, let's get technical. It says, why does it why it says Chaim lechaim shel Tova? It should have said Chaim shel Tov. Who speaks Hebrew over here very good? Yeah? Why do you say Chaim shel Tov or Chaim shel Tova? Chaim shel Tov. So why when we pray for the month we say Chaim shel Tova? Okay, so just
Hashem. Hey.
Tov Hashem. Nice. Right? Meaning, we always say Gam zu leTova. Why do we say Gam zu leTov? Right? Why do we say Gam zu leTova? Why do we say Gam zu leTov? Right? Oh, and now he said, why do we say Ta'aseh li Tova? Ta'aseh li Tov. Right? You see, like I'm giving a few more examples. Beautiful. So when you conjugate it, it's a difference between a noun and a verb. Right? What's a noun? A noun is what it is. Right? It's a thing. It's a good. Tova is the verb. It's actually the good being acted out. So we say Chaim shel Tova. Why is it Chaim shel Tova? Because, like we said in the beginning of the class, it's your action that's going to dictate this month. Tova, meaning think good, act good, will be good. That's why we say Chaim shel Tova. Meaning you could always sit over here and say, thank you for the mental gymnastics. You told me about this book, you told me about that book, you told me about this month, you told me about that tribe, all these things. But what happens once you leave? Oh, that's when it really starts. That's when the class really starts. Why? Think good, act good, will be good. And that's why it's called Tevet. Because this is the month of Tov. Gam zu leTova. Kadosh Baruch Hu Tov u'metiv. You are good. Am Yisrael is the one that represents the good in the world. This is the month where you actually live out your essence more than any other month. Every other month it looks like we're going for the ride of what the energy is coming in. Here, it's like that. Before we get into another cycle with Adar, right? What do we say is shape up, do your work. You got your jumper cables. We gave you a start. The car is running. That's it. We're taking off the cables. Go be a good Jew. It's the month of Tevet. You have a big push. Hanukkah. You have the light above nature. And even if you need something like, oh, you know what? I'm spiritually dead. Don't ask me to do nothing. I'm spiritually numb. Don't ask me to pray. Don't ask me to die. I can't do nothing. No problem. You need something above nature. Ma'ala teva in order to move something. No problem. You have 3 days right now. Do something ma'ala teva above your nature. Nobody's asking you to read a whole parak of Tehillim. Maybe one. A whole book of Tehillim, maybe one. Nobody's asking you to check yourself into a kollel, but maybe come into a Parashat Shavua class on Mondays in Aventura, right? Or maybe you can commit yourself to a Tanya class once a week. Something. Do a Mesirut Nefesh. Hashem, no matter what, I don't miss this. No matter what, I'm doing chesed. No matter what, I'm doing tzedakah. No matter what, I'm learning. That Mesirut Nefesh is going to activate, is going to break that block that you have in your life. And you also come into your true essence of a Jew, living a Jewish life, and the Be'ezat Hashem soon, in a Jewish country, in a Jewish nation, in Eretz Yisrael, with the third Bet HaMikdash, with the Melech HaMashiach. Be'ezat Hashem, that we merit to a POSITEVET, meaning a month that is positive. Month of Tevet, POSITEVET.
Amen.
I have an
Take the
additional.
light of the Hanukkah through all the.
I have an additional comment on what